artists behind the epic melodies, songs, and beats. Celebrating the best new music from around the world. This is the A State of Trance podcast.
Hey, what's up? My name is Ruben Ronde and welcome to a new podcast. And I have a very special guest in the studio once again. For the second time, actually, because if you want to hear the full story and of the past and the journey of this man in the studio right now, you have to check. I think it was September 2022. There's a podcast over there which tells everything about Maarten de Jong.
Yes.
How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm great.
Relaxed. On fire, making a lot of music. Yeah,
that's it.
Lots of things going on.
Yeah.
I loved your guest mix that you did this week on A State of Trance. Bit more techie, techno.
Yeah.
So what's going on in the world of Maarten de Jong right now?
Well, actually, what happened is a lot of fans that know me back from 2008, 9, 10. Mm-hmm. Why don't you go back to your old sound, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, well, that's gone. But hey, it's techno and techno is back again. And I never left techie stuff. So I'm trying to get a bit more into the deeper and cooler sounds. And
yeah, because if you look back, we were just talking about Mono, for example. That's one of those tracks, I think if you, with some small adjustments, that would be like a perfect track for nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's like the waves are completing and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's back to that.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit faster, I think.
Yeah, sometimes. Not always.
A lot of music has been released. This year, you released Mystère.
Not yet.
Oh, no. Well,
tomorrow.
By now it's going to be out.
Yeah.
Tell us about Mystère. What happened in the studio over there?
The track is... I was actually listening to some Bulgarian vocals on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I said, whoa, I need this vocal.
Wait. Why?
Yeah, that's why.
Was it your weird algorithm or something?
I do a lot of. I try to do a lot of scoring and a lot of stuff with sound design. So I'm always listening to things out of the box, and I really like the choirs of Bulgaria. It's really like catchy and high and different kind of singing. Yeah. So I really like that, and I was listening to that. I need that, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So it was not a sample or it writes blah blah blah. And then suddenly I was on a website, and it wasn't Splice, it was a different sample website, and I suddenly saw Bulgarian blah 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 staan.
You were like, wait a minute,
I have it now.
This is it.
Yeah.
So it's Bulgarian.
Yeah.
So if we have Bulgarian listeners to this podcast, if you could just write out what it means, because do you know what it means?
I've done some research. They asked me to write down the lyrics. I said, well, this is it, but I don't know if it's okay. But it's a love song, I think, about somebody from 1900, I think. It's some guy who tried to make right for people in Bulgaria, and it's really... And then he fell in love and blah blah blah. So it's a romantic.
It's a romantic
techno
story.
Track.
A romantic on a banging techno track. Would it be funny if the lyrics were something like a cooking recipe or something like that?
Yeah, it would be possible.
It's like those people that have tattoos with Chinese signs and Japanese signs that are not making sense at all. Before that, you also had a track that had I think African vocals. Kanua,
yeah.
That was one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah.
So. That's the vibe right now with weird folk songs that are not typical English or French or German or Dutch. It's just like random stuff that you find and you take that into your music. Yeah. How does a process go like that? Do you go into the studio and have a song already and then you start looking for these kind of samples, or do you hear the sample and then you start building a whole track around it?
It can be both ways. Lately, the last year, I've been in some kind of writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really hard to make music, actually, and trying to define my sound more.
Mm-hmm.
And when I start a track, it's mainly I start my synthesizers and my audio interface and my speakers, and no computer at all. And just try to find sounds and everything. And if I find something that I like, even if it's only an acid step or whatever, then I start building with that. And when it's like with the vocals, like Kanua, for instance, I think it was algorithm, because I was just on Google searching for something, and then I saw that vocal coming up on Splice, and I think 3 hours later my track was finished. So
inspiration hits. Yeah. So you were telling me that you had a writer's block. I think a lot of artists, and even like young artists that are getting into that for the first time, because when you start making music, you get into this flows, like everything goes.
Yeah.
Everything goes. You're making music all the time, and suddenly nothing works anymore. So that's what you experienced. What would you suggest, or what did you recommend to people that get into a writer's block? How to get out of it? Because it's very painful to be in there as a producer.
It depends on the time it's going on. If it's like for one day and you think, oh my God, next day is still same. I try to do something else. For instance, my barbecue helps a lot. I just start barbecuing big pieces of meat or whatever. For now, I fly kites a lot. So that's I go outside, I fly kites or walk with my dogs. To do totally something different, or just go to my family and help out with stuff or whatever. So really step away from studio. But when it takes like 3 months, then it's really hard to go into that studio. And then it's like, oh, maybe I need to buy a new synthesizer, or maybe this or maybe that, and that didn't work and this didn't work. And then my computer crashed also. And a lot of things after that came like, oh, no.
Do you know what got you into the writer's block?
No,
it's just like something that's just suddenly happened.
Really
out of nowhere.
Like this, it's there.
So you finish the track, let's say the day before and the day after, you're like,
yeah.
Well, you probably won't recognize the day after, but after a few days, you're going to be like, wait a minute, what's going on?
I don't know if you've seen the movie from Oliver Heldens. That it's like at night I'm in the studio and the day after,
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing that happens even if the track is already okayed by the A&R team and by Armin.
Yeah.
Then it's the day after I think like, no, it's not good enough. It's not good. It's delete. And that's not good. If something is finished, you should stop. And if you get that writer's block after that, then everything sounds like horse shit. I always say so. Yeah.
I feel you. But the thing is, like, the longer it takes, because let's say you turn off the computer one day and you go out and do other things, like you say, you go outside, you go walk with your dogs or whatever. The day after, you sit down again and you experience the same. The day after. Does it get harder and harder to get into the studio again? Like the imposter syndrome is going to kick in, or
of course. For me, it ended in last October. It almost a burnout. It was like I couldn't do anything anymore. I wasn't creative anymore, and my other job is like doing barbecue workshops and that kind of stuff. So I need to be creative there also, and it didn't work anymore.
No,
so it was really, whoa, what the fuck is happening? Do I need to search a job or whatever? Or it was really blaming myself for everything that went wrong, and that's not good.
How did you get out of that?
My family, of course.
Yeah. And so you were talking about them, like, hey, I'm just struggling with this, and
searching for somebody to help me out because it was really hard to get over it, and trying to make how do you call it in English? Wow, to work. To make an agenda for your day, so make a daytime rhythm to do really like structural things to get back into a normal life, because I was only tired, sleeping, and it was really hard to get me back into that studio.
You lose your energy, because you don't get triggered like, hey, this is great. I think if you haven't already, make sure to listen to the podcast that I did with John Askew, because he's the most structured person on this planet, I think. Because first of all, he's a DJ, he's a producer, he manages artists. He does all kinds of things, and he still manages. He's a family man. He has kids, and he was telling me about this. He works with colors. Like certain project has a different color, or you work in priorities in colors. So he has something on the wall that is like, okay, this is the priority for today, and it's and this and that and that. And I was just like, wow, I wish I was as structured as you are, because that's the way he keeps on going. It's unbelievable, because when you see what he does, it's unbelievable. And so if you want to hear more about that, John Askew, the podcast, he explains a little bit more about it. So massive respect to him. That's crazy. We were talking about this also. You were supposed to be here earlier this year already, but you had surgery. How hard is it as a DJ that you have a wrist injury?
It was fucked up.
Yeah, because you also make music with your hands. And
I did it with one hand.
Yeah?
And my ears, of course. But I tried to do a lot of stuff with my wrist. And I was like a bit of, let's call it eigenwijs in Holland. Stubborn, yeah, because a new track of mine is also called that. So, but I tried to do everything with my broken wrist, and that was not good. So when they did the
great
surgery,
for your recovery.
2 weeks after my surgery, I went working again. Typical me, and that's not good. And that wasn't so smart move. But in the end, it's all okay now. So
Suddenly you realize how much you use your hand.
Yeah.
You're trying to do these shortcuts. You're like, wait a minute. This doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I'm playing with my synth and using the modulation wheel. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait a minute. Play chords. Oh, wait a minute. I guess what you... so like I said, we had a great podcast already 2 years ago talking about your history. In the meantime, a lot of other things happen, I guess, music-wise. So I actually have a couple of questions that I worked out rather than looking into your past. And I have a couple of fan questions. So let's start with just some typical questions that I would love to hear from you. Starting with this one. When you're performing or even in the studio, do you have any pre-performance rituals or superstitions that you follow?
Oh, wow. One is very secret. I'm not going to tell that.
No one's listening. Come on.
No, that's
you
when
take a tinkle.
Yeah. No, when I'm in my hotel room, I always need to take a shower and relax and that kind of stuff.
Just to wind down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they have a wellness area, I go to the sauna or whatever.
Okay.
Just to really to push back my battery.
To take that travel out of your system and to get relaxed for the show.
Then there's another thing. I'm not nervous about the show, but I'm always nervous about is there good food? Because I need good food in my life. And I'm really picky on food lately. So I'm like, okay, is there a restaurant and how are the reviews and blah, 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 blah. I really like that.
So before you fly to a show, you already do research.
Yeah.
Like,
and then the promoter comes, we go to this place. No, no.
Hear me out. Yeah. I know you're promoting in this city for all these years, but I have a restaurant here. Your pick is not it.
So that's a thing that I have before my shows that are really,
So what is your preference? Like, let's say you go to New York.
Yeah.
The first thing that you look up is what kind of restaurants are you looking for then?
Steak or healthy food. Really normal, not like the French fries and burgers and everything, but really healthy food. Let's say before a gig, I really want to eat a salad with some steak and maybe some potatoes, but normally it's salad, steak, and that's it.
Okay.
And a lot of water.
A lot of water.
Yeah,
I love water, man. It's something it's not caffeine like what you did with the Alan Watts.
Yeah.
That's for sure. What is the strangest sample or sound that you've ever used in a track?
Oh, and that's really funny. That's I did a track with Melvin Warning a really long time ago, and I think it was Goat Fart or something called. So it's
Goat Fart,
something like that. And then he's from Korea. I don't know his origin, but he told me a word Bana.
Okay,
and that's also in the track somewhere. But Bana means
something else.
Yeah, something else. Yeah, people who know it will know it.
If you know, you know. What equipment or software do you rely the most on in the studio?
My synthesizers mostly.
Yeah,
I'm a big Moog fan.
Okay,
so I really love those guys. Then my speakers lately, I've switched to a whole new monitor setup.
The Barefoots.
Yeah, so I really love them. And then, of course, I always worked with Studio One, but I switched to a new Mac Studio.
Okay.
And somehow I got back to Logic. And I always worked with Logic before, and now I'm back on Logic. So that's...
And which synth, because you say, I know you're a hardware guy as well.
Yeah.
What synth is the first one that you switch on every time you get into the studio?
My Moog Matriarch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not you can't use a sound. You really have to do everything. Okay. You can't save anything. So it's
no
really
presets, nothing. Yeah.
It's a creative beast, and you can do so much things with it.
So how do you can't bring back a sample? You're like, okay, or just a sound. So you have to work on it.
Yeah.
And then do you save it somehow, or is it like, okay, it is what it is and it's over?
It's actually I have an app. You can make a picture of the settings, and then it makes like a some sort of board that you can see.
Okay.
To bring back your setup. And
I remember because who was it in the studio? Well, yeah, I had an interview with someone here as well that was doing the same back in the days when you only had a day for studio, for example, studio, and then someone else would be in the studio and you had to have new presets. Yeah. They would bring a carton board, put it on the synths, and write down like little dots where the nuts are. Yeah, for example,
that's the same.
But then you have it in the app.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that existed. Yeah. That's quite smart, actually. Was it a free app or you had to pay?
It's from Moog. So I think
it's from Moog itself. Okay.
Yeah. They also have like patch books, so you can make your own patch books and everything. And
it's very old school. Yeah. In these times of AI, suddenly you have to work with those kind of things. Interesting.
But if I start working with my modular stuff, then it's a whole different level, because if you go wrong there's no way back.
No. You were like, okay, how was this cable? Oh no, that was not it. That
I had it with I had a fabulous bass line, and then I don't know who was coming. I think Ben Gold or Alan Watts, one of those two were in the studio, and I pulled out one cable and sounded like R2D2, and I couldn't bring it back anymore. So
then you're like, oh no. That's what happens sometimes, I guess. What is the most unusual feedback or comment that you've ever received on any of your music? I see you thinking.
That's hard.
I love these questions.
That's really hard, because whoa. Do you mean like label-wise or fan-wise?
Both.
Label-wise, no, that they said I don't like it, and 2 weeks later we get a release date.
Really?
Yeah.
Which track was that?
Boy, that's a long time ago. That was on my spinning release somewhere.
Yeah.
So
what happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it like a discussion with someone, or someone was like
I think it was like they said no, and Sander van Doorn started playing it. That was the reason. And then they said, yeah, okay, let's do it. Something like that.
It's typically Sander, I guess. Which artists or genres have influenced you the most throughout the years?
I think techno was a big influence for me, but really back to the I Love Techno kind of sound with Chris Liebing, and that kind of sound, a really tribally sound.
Like
also,
the old school, Ben Sims, Adam Beyer.
Yeah.
Back in the days, the Prime. Do you remember the record label Prime?
Yeah,
of course. God, Primate. Wow.
I have left like I think a lot of vinyls from them. So
with the monkey.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I
that's
love them. Yeah.
such good stuff.
Like
I guess you could, if you're like a techno purist or something like that, that will be it.
Yeah.
Like the tribal stuff, the pumping techno, and
basically it was just a loop with a lot of overdrive and a good kick drum, and that's it.
Hard hitting heads.
Yeah. Maybe I should make one.
Yeah,
and just see what happens.
Try it. See what happens. Okay, this is something else. What is the weirdest or funniest thing that ever happened while you were doing a DJ set?
Somebody bringing her, putting up her trouser and coming to me to sign something. So that was the most weirdest thing in my life.
How did you react to that?
Not because I was like, okay.
Which one do I sign? All right, that's interesting. Yeah. And what is the that would be a weird one. But what was the thing that you, let's say, not a trouble, but a mistake that happened, or something that was out of your control during a set?
Oh, that was actually in ASOT.
Really?
Yeah. I was playing, and at the end, one of the CD players suddenly thought, hey, let's do everything in sync.
Okay.
And I was like, how? And how can I get back? And I never used that, so I didn't know how to push back the tempo.
Yeah, you have to bring it back to where it was.
So I was like searching, what the fuck is happening? And I couldn't mix anymore, and everything was going together. And I was like, oh my God. Luckily, it was in my last 2 tracks. So I was like, I could save myself with effects and everything. But whoa.
I had it once also that the DJ after me was also pushing the tempo to 140. So my track was also going up to 140. I was like, no, don't do it. So that's something that went wrong during set. That must have been an annoying moment. Yeah. Especially if it is at a State of Trance, then you know people are watching or looking at you. But luckily, how did you solve it? What happened?
Well, I was stressed about it when it happened. When the set came back with the audio, I edited it.
Okay,
but mainly for my own head that I needed to edit it. But I think the rest of the set was really good. So
people didn't hear it,
and maybe people hear it, but then they hear it live and they hear that I make mistakes also. So a mistake is normal in your life.
That's true. That's very true. If you could swap lives with another artist for a day, who would it be and why?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z? Okay. Yeah. Why?
Because of his wife.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good answer. I didn't see that coming.
I have to be honest. So yeah.
I understand that one. It's a good TikTok moment, this one. Cut it and then post it. What is the most unexpected place that you found inspiration for a new track?
It was my first show in Beirut, I think. It was my first show there with Eddie Bitar. It's already a long time ago. It was in the mountains.
Shout out to Eddie. Eddie, you're a legend.
Yeah. We had a hotel in the mountains, and I got like vibes over there, and that's where I made a track.
You made a track while you were there?
In the hotel.
So you had a laptop with you, and do you work on one? Do you have a workstation at home, or you have a laptop on the side, or is everything on the same spot?
It's like I have like my laptop and I have my Mac Studio, and they are mirrored. So when I do something on my Mac Studio, the next day it's also on my laptop and vice versa.
Okay, that helps out with the workflow, I guess.
Yeah.
The last question that I have for you before we're going to switch to the fan questions. This one had to be asked. If your music was a dish, what would it be and why? The answer of a chef. Come on.
What would it be? E.T. Probably some pulled kind of beef or meat or whatever.
Or pulled meat?
Yeah.
Why not a big tomahawk or something like that?
Yeah, well, that's I think more pulled because I am everywhere with my music and sound.
Okay. So not a salad.
No.
A pulled chicken.
Yeah, pulled chicken. Yeah, perfect.
Maarten de Jong is a pulled chicken. You heard it first here on the podcast. There you go. Let's go to some questions that came in through social media, starting with S. Rulimer Melstein. Is there anything coming up like Goodbye, Caffeine, or Minuetto in that sound? In that sound,
if you're available when I play with Luminosity, then probably you hear something like that.
So that's more like the how do you say it? Uplifting, banging, big riffs, and
I've also played in my guest mix the follow-up for La Nuit. So
all right, check the guest mix. There you go. Junior Senior 142035544. I wonder how you came up with that username. Has a question that I can answer for you. When is Mysteria going to be released? Well, tomorrow, or probably when you're listening to this right now, it's out already. Eluna69 Luca wants to know if there's any collabs coming soon.
Actually, this one I already said. It's with Laura van Dam.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on some other stuff. So.
How did that come about with Laura? Because Laura is in the slower BPMs and.
Yeah, I love her sound, or I love the sound already. And but she was releasing on Dawn and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she was here for a guest mix.
Yeah.
And then I sat in, like all the people now do, I just asked the question, how about a collab? And that's how it happened.
That's how it happened.
Yeah.
What did she say? Did she see that coming as well?
No.
Okay,
but she said yes. So yeah, that was
okay. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Have you heard of where? Oh, this is Melody Vittorio. Have you heard of where there is a flame, there is a fire? If yes, would it inspire you to make a 145 mix of that? I don't know if that's a typical question that's asked to you.
No. I can't answer this. I don't know what the flame or no.
Okay. Fair enough. That's good. I have to look it up. Wait. We ask. Flores just suggested me on my ears, like, hey, look it up. So for Melody, we're going to look it up. Where
flame or fire or what?
Where there is a flame, not a foam. Thank you, Google. There is a fire. Live radio, ladies and gentlemen. I don't find anything on the YouTube, so I'm wondering what that is. So Melody, if you you could let us know, because Google doesn't know. I guess it's maybe some film score kind of thing, because maybe
let her send it to me and maybe I'll do.
Yeah, so Melody, send a DM Maarten de Jong Music on Instagram and maybe he can do that for you. Alice Silland wants to know if there's a new track with Alan Watts coming.
No, we don't have anything in the pipeline yet. Maybe it's happening. I don't know yet. Didn't speak for Alan for quite a while, so just probably should call him soon.
You should call him, because there was Caffeine. We're talking about Caffeine. That was a banger. That was the Don GR wants to know if you're going to make a track with Armin anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. We asked him a lot, but no. Never. Maybe you never know.
Never say never.
I have seen him baking pizza, so probably we could do a barbecue together than do.
Fair enough. It took me 16 years also to get a collab with Armin, so that's how it goes, I guess. Devanesh Rai wants to know if there's something like Kanoa coming as well in the future.
Maybe, I don't know yet. I don't have inspiration.
Depends if you find the right sample and
what we talked about earlier. I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, that answered all of the questions. Thank you so much for submitting those on Instagram. And thank you, Maarten, to replying to all these weird questions. And thank you for guest mix. I'm very much looking forward to all the music that you're going to put out. I know that you're leaning more towards the more banging stuff. And I'm super excited about that because, like I said, Kanua is one of my favorites this year. It's banging, but it's still fun, I guess. So please,
thank you.
Please keep going. Yeah. And we still have to do a barbecue, so we have to do that anytime. Thank you so much for watching to this podcast, and I hope to see you once again very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Check all previous episodes on YouTube or your favorite podcast portal.